Hey, this is Andrew Brown. In this video, we're going to take a look at Keyspaces, which is a managed version of Cassandra. This is Cassandra compatible because maybe it's doing something underneath that is not necessarily the same. It's nice to see there's a CQL editor and table, so it seems like we're going to be able to do most of what we want in the management console, which previously you'd have to do everything programmatically. And we might do some things programmatically, but what I want to do is just go over here and take a look at the costs before we start spinning things up. So we got some storage costs, some backup costs, restoring a table, data transfers. So, if you're not comfortable with the cost here, you can just not utilize it here. But there is a free tier here, so just give it a read and make your decision. But I'm going to go ahead and proceed forward. And the first thing we'll need to do is create ourselves a key space. We could actually do this all via the CLI, and so I think that's what I would like to do here today. So I'm going to make a new folder in our AWS examples. It's the repo we use for everything for AWS, so just go over there for that. I'm going to make a new one called Keyspaces here, and I'm going to make a new readme, readme.md, and I'm going to make my way over to the AWS CLI Keyspaces. Okay, and the other reason I really want to do this via the CLI is because at some point if they change this UI, I don't have to go back and update my courses as frequently for no reason. But we'll go ahead and create ourselves a key space. Doesn't look like they have an example for us, but shouldn't be too hard to figure out. So we have AWS key spaces, create key space, and our parameters is the key space name. So that seems pretty straightforward. Is there anything for like configuration, like how we're going to spin that up? Probably replication specification is what we're going to care about. Also, I want to do this in CA Central, so I'm just going to switch this to region CA Central 1, assuming that this is available in Central, and I am in Central right now. But I'll go back over to here, and we'll go down below, and we have some options. And I really just want this to be single region, so I'm going to go ahead and just change this out to be single region. And this was for our replication strategy. Okay, so I'm hoping that I can just do this. Hopefully it will let me use this shorter syntax here. And hold on here. Okay. Let's bring these, we'll bring these down onto new lines so it's a little bit more manageable. I don't know if we have to specify the region list. If it's replication multi-region, and it's not. So hopefully this will just work. That'd be nice if it does. And I'm just going to go into key spaces here. We're going to go ahead and hit enter, and hopefully that just works. It does not like something. It's probably the syntax. Maybe it's just AWS key space. No, it is key spaces. We'll go back over to here. Create key space. What's weird is they don't have any examples for this. It kind of tells you which services people really like versus ones they don't. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try this again. Key space name, expected 1 argument. Oh, we didn't supply a name. Okay, well, that's going to cause us some issues, right? So I'll bring this up here and just say my key space. Hopefully it will accept that as the naming convention here. We'll hit enter. 3 validation errors detected. My key space name must follow a particular pattern. So I'll just change this to my key space. Member must have a length of less than or equal to 20 characters. Must be either single or multi-region. I mean, it's set to that, so I'm not sure exactly what it's complaining about here. Take a look at this again. Well, we could just turn this into, if it just wants it like that, we can just do this. And then that will satisfy it. Since I don't want to play around with this all day, Sometimes this is the easier thing to do than the shorthand. I think that's okay. We'll go ahead and paste this in. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over to ChatGPT and let it solve our issue here. Fix this. Okay, and it probably will figure out there's something wrong with it. Here it's suggesting a completely different syntax, which seems like that is not the case. There is no class option. ChatGPT, are you crazy? It says class single region. Region specification. Or replication specification. So what we can do is we can type out part of this like this. Okay, like that. We'll hit enter. Try this one more time. Great, and so what I'm gonna do here is just start typing replication strategy. And it looks like it, does it wanna, no, it just wants to, there we go. And so I'm thinking here, single region, right? Region, CA Central 1, hit enter. There we go. So we'll take that command and we'll paste it up here. And now we have a working command. If you are watching along, you could just go to this code base and copy it out and make your life super easy. Okay, so we'll say create key space. That's step 1. Step 2 would be to create a table. So let's go back over to here. We'll go to Keyspaces. And now we have our table. And no examples as per usual. So we'll say create table. Create table. And so it's going to be these 3 values that we're going to need. I don't know if we need to specify anything else here. Let's just go to the management console and just see what options we have here. So it shows columns, partition, primary key, and then some of the default settings here. So the question is, do we want to go through all of this work to configure that? Because I don't know what these defaults are. Yeah, I think we'll just make this way. So I'll just say my table. Because we'll be here all day if we're doing this. We did use some data here for app flow for the Babylon 5 ships. I think that's not a bad idea for some data. So I'll go ahead and do that. We'll say ship name. I'm going to add another column. Affiliation. And we'll say type. And we will say introduced. And we have length. Which has a number, max speed, crew. Let's take a look at some of our data types. So, I mean, these are fine. These are ASCII, which is technically a character string, so that is fine. I mean, we could do varchar. I kind of prefer varchar, to be honest, so I'm going to do that. And you can see we have a lot of different data types. Lots of good stuff in here. Say varchar, and so now we're getting to number. No, this is still varchar, but this one can be an integer. We'll just say big int here. Big int. I'm just going to go double check these values, making sure that none of them are decimal points. It looks like the max speed has some decimals. Crew speed, length. So I can't really make sense of this data too well. So what I'm going to do is just open it up in just going to open it up quickly here in Excel so we can just really clearly see the data. Okay, so crew numbers are all integers. Max speed is a string. Length is an integer. introduced is also a number. So we'll go back over to here. So this one is going to be, it technically could be a date, but we'll just say big int to keep it simple here. Length is a number, a big int. Max speed is a decimal point. We'll just say a float. That should be sufficient. And then the crew is an integer. I mean, really, the 32 should be fine, actually, for most of these. I'm actually just going to switch this to 32. Okay. And so I have some issues with my data, so I'm just going to have to put some numbers in here. I don't really know what they're going to be, so I'm just going to put 50, 50, you know, some numbers in here. It doesn't matter if they're accurate. I'm just making sure that those are all the same and those are all the same. I'm going to just save that. And I'm going to go back over to our table here. And then we need our primary key. So something needs to be the primary key. I'm just going to add an index here. We'll just say ID. And this here will be an int. And we'll go here and do that. We can cluster columns. We'll leave that alone. We're going to stick with the defaults here, so that seems fine to me. And then we have our preview query. I'm just going to copy that in case that goes somewhere. I'm just going to go ahead and just create table CQL here and just place that in here. I'm actually in the wrong folder. I'm just going to drag this into our Keyspaces. Okay. And we'll go back over to here and we'll create this table. And we'll just wait for that to complete, okay? All right, so our table, I believe, is ready. Okay, so we should be able to use the CQL editor and run commands to our table. So that is something we might want to do. We did copy this query here to create our table, but I mean, we already created it, so we really don't actually need that there. What we need to do is insert some data into here, and so that's what I'm going to do. So just give me a moment here. I'm just trying to look up the exact syntax here. There we go. All right, so yeah, it looks exactly like SQL. So we have the insert into, and so we'll have our key spaces. I think we called it my key space. And then we have our table called, what do we call it? My table, I believe. I already forgot what it's called. Yeah, my table, my key space. And so I want to insert some data into here. So we'll do parentheses here. I'm going to take a look at what we have. I'm just going to insert data SQL. I'm just going to call it SQL so we get some syntax highlighting here. I'm just going to grab these fields and paste this in. And we'll go back over to here. Okay. And so what do we have? We have ID, ship name, affiliation, type, introduce. I'm actually surprised type is not a reserved word, or maybe it is, and it might cause us issues. We'll see. Crew. And so those are there. We'll go ahead and type in values. Okay, I'm just going to put 1 here. And I'm just going to keep it really simple and using that Excel spreadsheet. Here, I'm just going to copy out some values here. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab 1 across. And I'm going to assume it is double quotations. There's probably singles. Some languages matter, so like whether you use doubles or singles. But I'm going to go ahead and use singles here. Okay. And I think this needs to be wrapped. All right, so this in theory should work. So go ahead and copy this. And we'll run the command. Unmatch column names and values. Okay, let me just review this quickly then. Just to really make sure that this is the case, what I'm going to do is just bring these onto new lines. I know it'll make it longer, but this way we'll definitely be able to see if there's something missing. Okay, so here we have the values there. And it's going to go through this. Take a look. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we clearly have a problem with our data. I'm going to go back to my Excel spreadsheet and take a look. So crew, oh, you know what? The max speed is warp 9.9. Well, what did we say that could be? If we go back to that table, what did we say that it would be text? Speed? No, we made it a float. And then length is int. So I guess what we'll have to do to make this work is we'll just have to take out warp here, and then that probably will fix our issue. So I'll go ahead and copy this, and we'll try this again. Okay, and we'll run the command. And it says it's complete, so it probably did work. So what I'm going to do is just do a select all from Keyspaces. Run the command. It returns the value. So there you go, it works. You know, we could get more advanced, and we could use like the CLI to connect to it, or use the SDK to connect to it. I don't feel like that is worth our time, just because I don't feel that AWS is going to pressure us for the exam to know it in that great level of detail. They really want you to use DynamoDB and their other services. If I find that they do, I will shoot a separate lab that goes a little bit more in depth, but I think this is satisfactory for Keyspaces here today. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and tear down our stuff. So go ahead and delete our table. Delete. And we'll go over to Keyspaces here, and we will say delete. Probably won't delete until the table's gone. So we'll just be a bit patient here, okay? All right, let's take a look here and see if we can delete our Keyspace now. Our table is gone, excellent. So we'll go ahead and delete our Keyspace. There we go, and that's deleting. So we'll just wait for that to delete now, okay? All right, there we go. So that's deleted, and we'll see you in the next one, okay? Ciao.